Good morning, LinkedIn friends, HubSpot Nation. Welcome to another episode of Let's Build Profoundly, introducing our early Profoundly pros one by one, leading up to our kickoff event, which is already next week. I cannot even believe it. Joined by Scott Flanigan today. How you doing, man?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on this morning, Chris.
It is a pleasure. I have to admit, you were one of the first that kind of opened my eyes to the true capabilities of what some creative thinking and, some real focused user experience planning could do in HubSpot when you did your session for the super team and emojis everywhere and process rules. And it was just a beautiful thing to watch. So I thank you. Thank you for that. And let's get into that. So, in terms of your HubSpot expertise, what is it and how did you get it?
Ooh, good question. And thank you. I love emojis. I try not to overdo it, but yeah, chat through that. I played too many video games as a kid and was just always noodling and wanting to like customize my experience. I think if something's not easy, myself and team members aren't going to use it. So going the extra mile always to like just craft an experience for users, I think makes all the difference. I know we process images faster than words, just building that out and trying to get all the information that someone needs to do a job right there in the flow of work for them. So like that's always what I'm thinking.
So some of it came from video games. As you entered the HubSpot world, tell us a little bit about that journey and how you've applied that kind of will and experience to HubSpot and the kind of stuff you normally help people with.
Sure. Yeah. So I took that, and when I got into like my big boy job or professional career, I jumped into, I was in knowledge management. I spent time in marketing. I spent time with sales teams, service. So like, I think that experience of being in the trench and solving problems across all the teams, like was so important for me to connect the dots and help teams work together. HubSpot, I started with a company and like a small business. And so helped right when they were early on back marketing only, basically. I think it was like 2013. And I was kind of like noodling in the background and searching what systems can help small businesses. And I was like, this tool's awesome. Not a full-fledged CRM, but to spend time kind of there on the side, spent a lot of time in a bunch of different tools, ServiceNow, Salesforce, right? A bunch of the other kind of smaller business side CRM, Zendesk, Zoho, some of those. So generally, right, building intuitive pipelines. Essentially, I'm a fractional RevOps or kind of GTM and RevOps leader. So helping B2B tech professional services teams build all their processes into HubSpot and kind of centralize towards one source of truth.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm always intrigued and want to learn from people who have existed in these other non-HubSpot ecosystems. You mentioned ServiceNow and Salesforce, and understand like what kind of value does that bring for you? Because I know it does, and being able to see through a little bit of the HubSpot Kool-Aid drinking and the rah rah, but also help people understand like why it's a good move towards like the guardrails that we often find in HubSpot versus the you can do whatever you want over here. How does that perspective help you when you're talking to people about HubSpot?
I mean, it's hard for me to convey all of that experience. So much of it comes down to ease, and HubSpot's the pace of development and what they've released is phenomenal. I mean, it's hard to even keep up with all the different hubs and new features that come out. I think what it comes down to really is velocity and convenience for your like admins or architects of how your go-to-market function works. Customer expectations change constantly. Your business, like successful businesses, are evolving. Like you're learning new things. The ability for people to build structures and do that in HubSpot and make changes is so much easier and it's so much faster. Obviously, you still want, someone who's focused on data model and the right metrics and how do we measure a customer journey. But being able to do all of that and really put it in an intuitive package for a team to be able to use and learn quickly. I think that's what it is. Obviously, I drink all the Kool-Aid. Like the partner ecosystem, I feel like is better.
Can you like put your finger on anything specifically as to why it is so different over here versus, some of the other ecosystems you've experienced?
As to why,
Yeah.
help me
Like,
clarify
why
that.
is it so different over here? Like, because it's really easy to like see somebody who's been inside and like maybe they've only existed in this ecosystem and like the sheer like just not understanding of what like IT projects look like as an example outside of this ecosystem and how good we have it sometimes when using a system like HubSpot and you can just click around and explore without worrying that you're going to bring the whole system down. And when I describe
I
that
still
for
have that
people,
worry sometimes.
right? When I, well, definitely like the closer you get to workflows and stuff like that, definitely like tread lightly. But in so many cases, like adding a value to a drop down, right? Like in other systems, like you got to go to IT for that. And it's this whole like, all right, you got to submit a project. And it's just such a different vibe, right? Does it just come down to the usability above all else? Is it that simple?
No, I guess like I think part of it's just a different approach to tech. Like, and it's kind of how you build a business around like this lean, agile, like RevOps mode. Like first off, your go to market and CRM should have IT expertise, but it should not fall under your IT department. Like
Yeah.
there's a different process. There's different guardrails within an organization and how they want to manage. Like just because someone knows the IT world, there's so many other skills that go into it. And having that lean, easy to use system that can be adapted for a specific purpose, like you still want folks who understand overall goals of an organization and how each of your teams work together. But I think there's something about that making the tools intuitive and easy for both your admins and your users, I think is part of what you're getting at or what I'm trying to convey.
Yeah. No, I agree. Because I remember like first experiencing this at the corporate level and like IT, like being in charge, being responsible for these systems, but nobody really owning the success of the systems, like for usability. They're there for break fix, but that's very different from is this stuff actually working for the users using it? So that told me right away, outside of the fact that, I would hear things like, well, love it or hate it, this is our system, right? And if everybody hates it, that needs to matter at some point. Yeah.
You're going
So
to
how do
spend
you like,
most of your time in a system. Like, let's make sure people don't despise it and they want to get in as easy as possible, right? We're going to spend time on the things we care about or right and build muscle memory.
yeah, for sure. So do you have any tricks you could share in terms of like the intangibility from like whether it's user or just manageability of the system, being able to move through a system with ease without the mental load of doing it like in the exact, order every time, having guardrails, but not being so restricted that you can't try new things and discover like how it can be for you. All these aspects are very hard to sell, like without like feeling it and experiencing it when it comes to HubSpot. I feel like that's why I turned to creating content where it's like we're just showing it every day. Like I learned this from the admin hug, right? When the product team can come in and be surprised by their own product, like we need to be okay with that, but it's also cool to show like, oh, that's okay. It's just got to do this now, right? And it's not like I got to go back to the drawing board and figure out a whole new process, right? Without experiencing that for the first time, it can be very hard, I've found at least, to explain and get the buy-in for that part of it. Do you even try to sell that part early on, or you just kind of wait for it to be experienced and then make sure the value is understood?
Thanks. I feel like that's a loaded question. Yes, like you can build simple structures in HubSpot, like and put things together. Like you asked for tips. Like I think it's pretty general, but like label things intuitively. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Like label it intuitively, build it simply, simple scales. There's so many, hundreds of little individual aspects that are going to go into your CRM, and you want all of them for the most part to be able to work modularly, but connect and fuse data. And if you ever have to go do surgery and change one piece, like you want to be able to extract that and replace it. So like thinking, compartmentalizing and building that way, I think is really important. I think the other part of your question was really like to show like new clients or potential business, like you can build an MVP really fast, right? If you understand HubSpot, it gives you all the tools to rapidly put something together. All of the value and hard work is in the constant course correction and expertise that comes in later. Like, cool, we can build a deal pipeline. No big deal. Like, it's easy to put labels on there. Hopefully you have the right mentality, I think. Like, think about the customer first and what their buying motion needs are, for example, in that situation. Then translate that back to how do you make your process simple and how do you make it easy for the user in HubSpot, the sales rep, and then like all the other pieces that go into your process. But that way you're always thinking about a customer decision first. And then most of the real value and work comes in with fine tuning adoption, taking that data, being able to, dice it up in different ways and find who your highest value clients are, where gaps are, the ongoing refinement and building it towards the rest of what you need and how you're going to grow.
That's well said. And no matter how general the advice is, it needs to be heard by a lot of people right now, and reheard as HubSpot moves forward so fast and kind of changes things, and people are having to undo workarounds, like or choose whether or not to, like left and right now as new product updates come out.
With the new Journeys tool, like that's a substantial change to how you architect like the base foundation potentially. Yeah. When do you make that change?
Well, that's a good question then. How do you help people through, or how do you help your team through this decision of what came to mind? So two things. There's like the workarounds are in place. When does it make sense to undo them to use the new version of that thing or the new ability? But two, like the question came up during that hug of the journey mapping, like, will you be able to migrate workflows? And I find so often it makes much more sense when HubSpot's involved to not default with migration.
I agree. Yep.
Right? Like build it, like learn it, and then understand like, oh, I'm going to build this completely differently now that it's set up. Like
it's
whether
a new
it's
tool
websites.
it requires a new approach and thinking around it.
Right. So how do you help, like if somebody comes to you and just says, I want to migrate the XYZ to HubSpot, like how do you help them think through that without thinking, oh, we got to rebuild everything?
Like a lot of times folks who aren't spending time, just like anything, like if I go ask a general contractor, I don't know exactly what I'm asking for in certain situations, right? It's understanding their goals and learning through those. Things like migrations or automation, like there's so many different components that go into it. It's not just straight like pull data in new ways. Like you said, it's like there's so many different hooks and a way of building and how that ripples out to all the different processes and people in your system. So I hear what you're saying. If you're gonna do something, do it right, do it once. Like having a HubSpot expert, senior admin, an architect, a RevOps leader, someone like that. Part of the value is making sure you have someone who inherently knows how your entire system is working, and that way, when because it's going to happen, new features come out that make significant change to right or have huge opportunities for those. Like rebuild it, build it right, make it consistent. And how does that fall in with longer term goals? There's always immediate fires and immediate goals for a quarter or a year. Like when do we solve this, and then when do we have heads down time? And if everything's important, nothing is. So it's kind of just, okay, you want to migrate. Why? What is this? Why is this piece important to you right now?
Yeah.
And then
well, that's a great
and I'm
way
excited to chat next week, because like that really comes down to like how's the whole overall system working together to produce more revenue. Like we're engineering we're engineering growth when we build business systems and align it with the tools that people are using on a daily basis. So if you don't have all the foundational pieces or all those key metrics that give you better insights, why is a migration for this specific point tool important right now?
Yeah. Well, it's a good segue. We were gonna talk about your track for next week. You put together something pretty special, I think, for the RevOps track. It's gonna be hard for people to decide for sure which one they're going to, and pass yours up. You've got some rock stars lined up there. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, I'm excited to share. Emerson McEwen and Drake Diomber are awesome in the HubSpot community. Really excited to talk through them. Really helping other people get the most out of like Profoundly and grow their consultancy or their small business and kind of the fundamentals. So really want to chat like how do you make the migration from thinking more admin or manager of this system and kind of elevate that up into how am I helping manufacture growth and be able to communicate and do the things that are important to maintain your confidence, right? Help support a team. It's as much technical insight as it is enablement, gathering feedback. What are the systems you need to support those things and just stay on top of it as the world continues to change and evolve.
Yeah, that stay on top of it. I mean, that part can be a full-time job right now. So that's what, you know, Lucy and I on the Let's Build a Super Admin series, we always talk about awareness. Like if you can control anything as an admin, it must be the awareness of what's happening in your portal and how people are using it and what HubSpot is throwing at you on a daily basis. Can't necessarily say, all right, there's going to be no duplicates tomorrow because all of a sudden HubSpot drops an update and now you got extra property that's named just like this other property. And we won't dive too deep into that though. So yeah, excited for next week. That's March 6th. A couple of different RevOps sessions, and it's going to be very valuable stuff. But I want to make sure we get to the most important part of what we think about at Profoundly as we bring all these individuals in the ecosystem together. It's the humans and what they're up to. So outside of HubSpot, who is Scott Flanigan? Could be the hardest question I ask today.
That is a tough one. Uh, I mean, I love community. I spend a lot of time with my clients, like thinking and worrying about all the details. So a little bit Mad Hatter, like a little bit engineer. I like to run. I've got, my whole family's in the Denver area. My sister's here. I've got two little brothers down in the southern area. So try to spend as much time with them as I can outside of work. Huge into sci-fi fantasy. At some point, I'll look for a D&D group.
That's fair. I played one time in college. It seemed like an easy bridge from Magic the Gathering, but it's just a lot of work for me, I guess.
It's time consuming. It would be. It's been decades.
Yeah. So what are we running in? I did the Boulder a couple years ago, and that was probably one of the most fun runs I've ever gotten to do. Are you doing like half marathons and stuff, or
I'm
keep it at
not
the
crazy
5?
enough. I'm not crazy for the full marathons. Half marathons are my jam. I
Yeah.
used to do the rock and roll here in Denver. It's been a couple of years. I've traveled out to San Diego and done that a couple of times. But the Colfax half, South Suburban 5K. There's some 5Ks around. There's a Breckenridge running group, Breckenridge Brewery.
Okay. All right. Sounds like a good circuit. Um, and like in regards to community, like, and this is because I got to work up there for a little less than a year. Like that community is definitely a healthy one. It feels like, to say the least, and lots of races and lots of fitness activities. Really, really fun time. So you can see, why you'd enjoy being up there.
We get a lot of sunshine.
Yeah.
And then we get to complain for a couple of days when it snows, and then it gets back up to 60 with more sun, and like it is today, 65.
I'm looking forward to, I think, upper 70s here down north of Houston. You mentioned video gaming. We've had a few gamers on the show so far. Is that something you still get to spend any time with, or?
I bought myself a PlayStation last year, and I think I've put in a cumulative like 6 hours on it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But winter, like this season, fall to spring is usually my busy time. So I'm going to try to make sure I have plenty of time to get outside this summer and catch up with some buddies who now have families, and it's hard to line up schedules and get some video game time.
Yeah. So sounds like multiplayer might be the go-to usually then, or?
Probably. I'll probably get schooled by some kids who I can't keep up with their reaction time now.
Oh man,
I've got different skills.
That's why you got to slow it down and play the RTS and the strategy games.
Co-op.
Yeah. Well, this has been fun. Appreciate you stopping by today, letting us get to know you a little bit more. Uh,
Yeah, always a
if
pleasure to
you,
talk to you. Thanks so much. And yeah, look forward to chatting with you further. I know you're doing all kinds of things within the, Sprocketeer and the rest of the HubSpot community.
yeah, no, it's been a blast, and I appreciate you saying that. It's going to be a lot of content coming, and I'm sure if you have the space, there's probably a show or two we could do together. Definitely some resources we've been talking about creating for the community, making that more accessible. So if you're out there watching and you want to be a profoundly pro like Scott, head over to profound.ly to click on the Give HubSpot Help button. It's right next to the Get HubSpot Help button to sign up to be a pro. And while you're there, sign up for the kickoff next week. Man, 9 days away now. And even if you can't make it, everything's going to be recorded. We've got 8 tracks. One of these days, I'm going to sum up all the minutes of content that we're going to have. It's a 2.5 hour event, lots of great sessions by some of the top in the ecosystem, including Scott and his RevOps track. So we hope you'll join us at the event. And until then, Scott, thanks so much for joining us today.
Absolutely, Chris. Thank you. Look forward to
Have a
seeing you all
great,
next week.
yep, have a